And we're in Luke 12 to 13. Now, Jesus' response to the heckler at the beginning of Luke 12 was regarding the parable of the rich fool. Reading it again reminded me of the first time that I read it, and it was a bit scary. It kind of scared me the first time that I read it. And no, not because I thought that rich people didn't go to heaven, but the fact that it blatantly calls out the fact that none of us knows when our time will be up. None of us knows our last day on earth. And the fact that he just so blatantly calls this fact out, it used to be so unsettling to me, but not anymore, because I found comfort in putting all my hope in God and not in financial or human security. Now, this wasn't easy, and it didn't come to me just because I had to go through some hard lessons to realize that, these things don't matter anymore. The only preparation I feel that we need to make for this kind of situation, or to gain this kind of confidence, is really in relationship. So the key question is, do you have a relationship with God or not? That's it. However you answer that question will answer the unsettling, if you have that unsettling or unsettled feeling in your heart about, if your time is up today, where would you go, or what would happen to you. So I'll leave that one there with you. Now, the standout verses for me were verses 47 to 48, right? And that said, the servant who knows his master's will and does not get ready and does not do what his master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving of punishment will be beaten with few blows. For everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from the one who has been entrusted much, much will be asked. Now, this was stand out for me because I thought about it and I was like, if someone to ask me, I probably fall into the category of the ones who have more responsibility, because now I know, now we spent all this time reading the Bible, getting to know God through his word. So we know what his word says. We know what is demanded of us. So newsflash, you are one of those with responsibility now. So you can't be wishy-washy about, your relationship or your life, how you live out your life, and based off of the knowledge that you have. By knowing and walking with Jesus daily, we, like his disciples, have more responsibilities than others, right? More responsibility than others, right? The greater demand from God on those who have more information is real, and there's more responsibilities laid on them. So the more you know, the more that is demanded of you. So I'll just leave that one there with you today. I'm leaving all sorts of things with you today, but I hope you do something with them. Now, in chapter 13, there were a couple of stories that didn't have much context that were mentioned. I don't know about you, but me, I don't like half gist. But there was the story about the people who came to Jerusalem to offer sacrifices and were killed by Pontius Pilate because they were assumed to be insurrectionists, basically, or Roman rebel. No, they were rebels plotting how to overthrow the Roman Empire. No, we don't know whether this was true or not, but they were killed. And then Jesus also referenced a group of 18 people that were killed when the Tower of Siloam fell on them. Now, we don't have any stories about that in the Bible, but the whole point of the references was to point out that the level of one's suffering doesn't say anything about whether one is walking in sin or in righteousness. Trials and tragedies can't always be assumed to be punishment from God. Sometimes they just happen. And the bottom line here is that there's judgment for all. So everyone needs to repent. So we shouldn't be sitting here judging people when things go wrong to say, oh, that person probably sinned, that's why this happens to them. We don't know. Now, a key takeaway for me from the parable of the barren fig tree is that bearing fruit takes time. Now, I had to read this again to myself because I was like, yeah, because I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people that always wants things really quickly. So I want to see things happen very fast, especially when I feel like I'm investing in them. But here in this parable, the vine dresser, Jesus, is patient with the vine and tells the owner, let's give it 3 more years. So he's patient with us and he's nurturing us to bear fruit. One thing that I've just realized from Jesus's healing of that woman, so moving on to the healing of the woman who was bent over, everyone knows, thanks to Pastor Bishop T.D. Jakes, woman that was loosed, the story of the woman who was bent over, doubled over for 18 years that Jesus healed. The standout thing for me here was that she didn't come to him. He saw her and went over, called her over and healed her. I thought, I was like, how did I miss this all this time? Because you always assume that, and even the way the stories are, or someone came to them, or he actually saw her, and on his Sabbath, no doubt, but he knew what he knew what he was doing there, and that was amazing. Now, I always thought that the scariest verses in the Bible were the ones that we found in Revelation, or one of those Daniel and all those prophetic or apocalyptic books. But Luke 13:24-28 is, I think that's my not that it just became, it has been one of the scariest. Well, I think it should be the scariest to most people, and I'll just read it, right? And it says, once the owner, to give context, make every effort to enter through the narrow door, because many, I tell you, will try to enter and will not be able to. Once the owner goes into the house and closes the door, you will stand outside knocking and pleading, "Sir, open the door for us." But he will answer, "I do not know you or where you come from." And then he will say, "We ate and drank with you, and you taught in our streets." And he will say, "I do not know you. Where did you come from? Away from me, all ye evildoers." So when people who spend a lot of time with and near God, but in the end he says, "I don't know you," that's the scariest thing. Right? And this just buttresses my point about the importance of actually building and maintaining a quality relationship with God, so that at every point in time you kind of just know where you stand. Right? So here's my lesson about God from reading these chapters. As children of God, we don't need to suffer anxiety, because our Father in heaven is attentive to all our needs. In Luke 12:6-7, it tells us all about this. Even though there's a lot of warning against judgment in these chapters, right? We should remember that in 12:32, Jesus says, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." So God delights in giving us good gifts, we his children. And what better gift is there than a relationship with him? So all I'll say is, don't take that gift for granted. Thank you for joining me today. Looking forward to tomorrow, and I hope you are too. God bless you. See you here. Bye.